This is the Closure House, where we discuss boundaries, estrangement, no contact, and the hard conversations about relationships that many people avoid. I'm your host, Jessica. Many people assume that estranged children just want attention. They want revenge. They want to punish their parents. But when you actually listen to what estranged adult children say, most of them are asking for the same things. And honestly, none of them have asked for perfection. Today, I'm talking about the top 3 things estranged children say they actually want from their parents, and some of these might surprise you. So, if you've ever wondered what estranged children might want from their parents, it's not really what people assume. It's not what social media says, but what they say they've needed repeatedly and they never got is going to be covered in these 3 things. The first is they wanted accountability without defensiveness. This is the biggest theme that we've seen. And many estranged children are not asking for perfect parents. They're asking for their parent to say, like, I understand what hurt you, or to give an apology. They're also looking for, even if the parent is like not apologizing, they're looking for understanding on how they feel. Like, I can see how my actions impacted you. Because I think a lot of people just go off of what they intended to do. So it's like, I didn't set out to hurt you, so I'm not going to apologize for hurting you. That doesn't work here. So the takeaway, most estranged children are not asking for perfection. They're asking for acknowledgement. But a lot of the parents, they just get defensive right away. They try to explain, they justify. That's not what happened. But for many estranged children, the lack of accountability hurts more than the original issue can. So number 2 was to be accepted without pressure or guilt. Some estranged children, they just simply want space. Not punishment, not to be chased, not drama. They aren't asking for much from you, but they are saying, I don't feel emotionally safe. And because I don't feel emotionally safe, I don't want to be around you. So what feels like hate is actually survival for them. Adult children have said, I just want my boundaries respected without feeling like I'm betraying my family. Some have asked for distance, some ask for low contact, no contact, or limited, but not every estranged child wants reconciliation. So that's really important to know, to be accepted without pressure or guilt. And that actually takes me into Katrina's story. She was raised by her parents. They were very good parents overall. Growing up, she had a mostly good life. But as she started getting older, she started feeling the pressure because her parents had migrated here and they had really established a lot. So for them, they expected a lot out of her and they really wanted her to go into a field like being a doctor or a lawyer, something like a high paid kind of job where she could make a lot of money, and that was their dream for her. Well, she didn't want to do that. So she went away to college. She's doing the medical thing. And while she's there, she's starting to realize that the people around her don't have all the privilege that she has financially because they're struggling. They're having to drop out. And for her, that created some guilt where she was like, you know what? I would really like to do some of this stuff on my own. So she starts to get a job, and while she's working with kids, she realizes this is really what I want to do. Like, she felt alive when she did that. She said that she was struggling when it came to like medical stuff because it's like, I don't want to do this. So it didn't align with what she wanted to do. So she starts talking to her parents about like an alternative, and immediately they shut it down. They tell her she's not doing that. They won't pay for her to go to school. It became all of these things that she did not think she'd be met with. Like, she thought they would be like, okay, well, you want to do this on your own. We understand. We're supportive, whatever makes you happy. And for her, she just didn't want to talk to them about it anymore. So because they didn't have that closeness, she couldn't talk to them about how her plans were changing. And so she just switched her courses and she switched her major, and they just condemned her. They talked about how she was stupid and how that was such a bad choice and it was shameful for the family. And like, they made her feel really badly. So for her, she just cut them off. She was like, you know what? I'll talk to them later. And she did. She cut them off. And when she cut them off, initially she just wanted like low contact. That turned into no contact, and the way that she felt when she was not pressured by them made her not wanna be around them. Their first thing was, "We're cutting you out of the will." And for Katrina, she said, "Gladly. Cut me out. I don't want anything from you. I just wanna be happy. I wanna live my life my way." So that is an example of how defensiveness can show up. And that is also an example of how, if you don't have established closeness, it makes it really difficult to keep a good relationship. It is not everything you do all along. And I think some people are like, but I did this and I did that. It's not just that. It's also like what they need. And some parents lead with what they want and need and how they want their child to behave and be seen. And what I've learned from the estranged adult children, they don't want that. They want to live out their dreams. If they want to do art, if they want to become a teacher, if they want to work with kids, like they want to do what they want to do. So for Katrina's story, that's a good example of how somebody cannot feel close to their parent and decide they don't want to be around them because they don't feel emotionally safe because they can't even talk to them about the things that they want. And the third, they want to stop being called entitled and ungrateful. This comes up so often. I literally see it all the time when I end up on the wrong side of TikTok. And all I hear about is my kids are so ungrateful and they're so entitled and they think they can do whatever they want after everything I've given up. And that might be one of the main reasons why a child doesn't want to be in your life. Many of the estranged adult children are saying they feel dismissed when their pain is labeled as entitlement. So, what this could sound like from an estranged parent is, would I put a roof over your head? You're ungrateful. You think life should be perfect. That can shut down any chances of repair with your child. Calling someone entitled is sometimes a way to avoid hearing what hurt them. When pain gets labeled as entitlement, it can make people feel unseen instead of feeling like they're understood. Think about that in the grand scheme of life. In relationships, who would want to be around people who don't understand them, who accuse them of things, or make them feel unseen or unheard? They would have to give up maybe who they are to be in that relationship, and sometimes that's not worth the price. So estrangement is rarely as simple as people make it sound. And most adult children don't wake up one day and just decide to be away from their parents. And I'm not saying that most parents are even villains. It's not about that. Healing starts when we stop talking about who's right and who's wrong, when you finally realize that your adult children need things too. And once you start addressing what they need too, it makes it so much easier to build a relationship where there's closeness. It doesn't come from fixing the relationship. Sometimes it comes from just finally understanding it. And that is why these 3 points are so important. If your adult estranged child feels like nothing will change with this, they will be done with you. They don't want to deal with it. If they feel like, man, I have a chance here to work things out with my parent, then a lot of times they will. Most people don't want to be on a sinking ship. So if they know that there's a chance that life could change, a lot of times they'll make the relationship work at some point. They may need some space. Remember, like estrangement is sometimes like the child figuring themselves out too. It's not just about you. This is the closure house. And in this house, we don't shrink to stay connected. See you next time.